If you want to know what the fastest growing job of the next decade is, you should probably stop looking at Silicon Valley and start looking at the soil.
Yeah, literally the dirt.
Right, because by 2030, like 35 million new agricultural roles are going to be created. Today, we're taking a deep dive into the World Economic Forum's Future of Jobs Report 2025 to uncover how technology, climate adaptation, and changing demographics are fundamentally going to reshape your career by the end of the decade.
And it is a massive shift.
It really is. Our mission here is helping you navigate this global transition without the info overload. Okay, let's unpack this.
So to really understand what you're navigating, I mean, we have to look at the sheer scale of the disruption first.
The structural churn, right?
Exactly. The report projects this massive 22% structural churn in the global labor market by 2030. And by structural churn, we aren't just talking about, people jumping from one company to another.
Right. It's entire job categories evaporating while entirely new ones are just invented out of thin air.
Yeah, we are talking about 170 million jobs created and 92 million displaced.
Oh, wow.
And here's a wild metric. Tasks performed exclusively by humans are expected to drop from 47% today down to just 33%.
Oh, it's dropped to 33%. Sounds like a cliff. I mean, are humans just running out of utility at that point?
Well, no, not exactly.
Because I'm thinking, is this just what people call the calculator effect?
Yeah.
Like where a new tool fundamentally changes how we work rather than just totally kicking us out of the equation?
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Because when I look at my own workflow, I use AI to synthesize research, but I still have to physically piece the actual narrative together myself.
Right. It is an extreme version of the calculator effect. The data reveals this is really a story of augmentation, not absolute replacement.
Okay, that makes sense.
When you dig into the source material, generative AI currently has literally zero very high capacity to completely replace what the report calls granular skills.
Granular skills, meaning like the really physical or nuanced stuff.
Exactly. Think about the mechanics of it. An AI can generate a brilliant global supply chain strategy, sure, but it has zero capacity to physically sit in a room and, read the nuanced body language in a tense labor negotiation.
Oh, right. Or to physically go out and inspect a faulty agricultural sensor in a field.
Precisely,
Yeah.
Which completely reframes the conversation around who is actually winning in this new environment.
Yeah, if granular, physical skills
Yeah.
and human nuance are the main bottlenecks for AI, I guess it makes perfect sense why farm workers see the largest absolute growth at 35 million new jobs.
It really does.
Though I have to admit, my initial instinct was that big data would be the absolute volume leader, not just the fastest growing by percentage. So is agriculture exploding just because we haven't figured out how to fully automate a tractor yet?
Well, not quite. It's actually driven directly by the causality of the global climate transition.
Yeah.
We need massive, localized human capital to physically execute climate adaptation. Building resilient infrastructure, implementing new sustainable agricultural practices, managing local water systems.
Because tech companies can't just write an algorithm to fix a physical skills shortage in the dirt.
Exactly. You need human hands. Conversely, look at what is plummeting right now. Highly routine clerical roles like bank tellers or data entry clerks.
Because those roles exist entirely in the digital or routine space.
Right. They completely lack that complex, physical, or deeply nuanced human layer.
And here's where it gets really interesting for you listening. Since the environment is shifting away from routine digital tasks toward complex, collaborative problem solving, the skills you actually need are transforming entirely.
Big time.
The report notes that 39% of a worker's core skills will change by 2030. Tech literacy is obviously surging, but the ultimate core competencies that differentiate the growing jobs from the dying ones, they aren't even technical.
No, they're human traits.
Right, like analytical thinking, resilience, flexibility, and agility.
Because you simply can't program agility into a machine. And honestly, this creates a massive headache for the people doing the hiring.
Oh, I bet.
63% of employers identify the skill gap as their absolute ultimate barrier to transforming their business. They know they need resilience and analytical thinking, but, they can't just buy those traits off a shelf.
Right. So to survive, like 85% of these employers are planning large-scale internal upskilling initiatives. So what does this all mean? It's like companies realize they can't just buy a new engine. They have to ask their internal combustion engine to magically transform into an electric battery while the car is driving down the highway.
I actually wouldn't use the engine analogy there. You aren't replacing the mechanism, you are adding to it.
Okay, fair enough.
Think of the modern workplace more like an orchestra. The AI is this massive new synthesizer that management just dropped into the pit. You don't fire the string section. Instead, the conductor, the human worker, has to learn how to harmonize traditional instruments with this massive new digital sound. And that takes time, patience, and heavy training.
And that perfectly explains the most surprising data point in the corporate response. You would assume the #1 strategy for attracting and retaining talent during this super stressful upskilling phase would be, just throwing massive salaries at people.
Yeah, but it's not.
It's not at all.
Yeah.
Prioritizing employee well-being has surprisingly become the top strategy.
Exactly. The data shows companies are realizing that a stressed, burnt-out worker simply cannot learn complex new skills or adapt to rapid structural churn.
Well-being is no longer just a corporate perk. It is a fundamental prerequisite for reskilling.
It really is. It forces us to rethink what a tech-savvy worker will even look like in the next decade.
So for you listening, your best career insurance in this transition isn't just having hard technical know-how. The landscape is shifting way too fast for that. Your real insurance is your continuous curiosity, your agility, and your willingness to just embrace the reskilling process. It really makes you wonder, if empathy, resilience, and complex problem-solving become our ultimate currency in a highly automated landscape, will the most valuable tech skill of the 2030s actually just be our shared humanity?
That is a fascinating question.
Something for you to mull over as you navigate the changing mountains of the labor market.